second hour of Authentic News right here on RBN Live. This 15th day of April 2025, where I take your calls. I want to bring up Tom first from Florida because I have a bone to pick with Tom and with Miles from Maine. I was pretty upset with Miles' snarky call yesterday, Tom. He made nasty remarks about Peter from L.A., me, dealing what I regarded as very fairly with Joe from Tennessee. I don't like this snarky nonsense. And Miles had better get his act straight or he won't be back on this show again ever. I'm very pissed off. I want to know your opinion, Tom. And you're such a zealot for Trump. Do you understand that destroying freedom of speech in this country is destroying America and everything it stands for, Tom? Do you understand that?
Well, Jim, you brought up Miles, and now you're going about. I wasn't being snarky. I don't think I was being. What the hell does that mean? I was just trying to bring out pertinent information, Jim. Jim?
Fair enough, Tom.
Hello?
You weren't being snarky, but you have so often talked about these guys whose calls you like so much, including, of course, Miles from Maine and
well, wait
Joe
a minute, Jim. I said I like the call. I liked Alexander's call. I like Alexander, and is that being snarky because I agree with Alexander, or I agree with other callers?
No, I'm saying
I was saying that Alexander made a good call.
Tom, go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
So I just thought that was funny. I thought Miles was being right on the money when he brought up about Bubba Scout Reb. I thought that was kind of a funny situation he brought up. I mean, was I wrong to be thought that was pretty funny?
No.
Jim?
You're okay with that, Tom. I'm not raising that.
Okay, now listen.
Let's go right
now here
ahead,
you're
Tom.
going about. Now, you're talking about Donald Trump, and I called your show to tell you that Donald Trump is the one. What other president in your lifetime is looking at Social Security and taking 2.5 million people off their security rolls that shouldn't be on it, and they're here illegally in our country and don't even speak English, Jim? So how am I being?
Tom,
you do give Peter.
How many times?
Huh?
How many times have I said I like what they're doing with Doge and getting people off of Social Security who don't belong there is great. And I care about Social Security because I and my wife wouldn't make it. We wouldn't be able to keep a roof over our head or food on the table if it were not for Social Security. So I'm all for the integrity of Social Security, Tom.
Well, Donald Trump is trying to hold on to the integrity of Social Security. Well, there'll be no Social Security, Jim, when they bankrupt it with all these illegal aliens and all these people who shouldn't be on Social Security, that don't deserve to be on Social Security. Never paid a dime into the system, Jim. So that's my point about Donald Trump. He's done a lot of wonderful stuff for us.
Social Security. I'm wondering how you feel about his crackdown on freedom of speech, Tom. How do you feel about that?
Well, let me ask you a question, Jim. Yeah, one of your callers called in. Well, I don't, Jesus, and he started. I brought religion up a little bit because I had to, and I told you what I thought about that. And if you want to take these specific people on, try to outsmart them, and outsmarting them is letting them know you are only 2.3% of the population, and we're going to expose you because you have too much power. You shouldn't have all these senatorships. You should not have all these Supreme Court justiceships. They got all this power, but they're only 2.3% of the population. And when that one caller that was bashing me on the end of your show, I was just trying to point out, if you want to beat these people, you've got to unite. You've got to expose them for their population numbers. And you got to say, hey, you want to call me out? I'm a Jew, and I'm a Jew for Jesus. Now, everybody else say, well, I don't believe in, that people don't believe in God. Well, the majority of this country does believe in the Son of God. The majority of this country is Christian. It was founded in the majority by Christian white males, okay, the founding fathers, who now they want to take our monuments down, Jim, okay? So my point to that one caller was, hey, if you want to take them on, you've got to expose them for their sheer numbers of how many they really are and how much they represent. Jim, are you listening?
Tom,
so that's my point.
We agree.
Yeah.
Trump doing a lot of good. I'm worried about what he's doing that I regard as bad. Do you think this new definition of anti-Semitism is good? Do you think he ought to be enforcing it? Do you think he ought to be punishing colleges and universities for allowing students to protest the genocide in Gaza? Where do you stand on that?
Well, Jim, that's a great question, and I'm going to answer it the best I can. First off, Donald Trump wants to take $2 billion away from Harvard University because there are a bunch of woke, joke fools. It's a bunch of woke, joke imbeciles that are running all these universities, okay? So if he funds some of these universities, I say go all for it. I was never fortunate to get a great education because my father went to war for this country. My grandfather went to war for this country. My uncles, my brothers. What kind of education did I get, Jim, as a white Northern European Caucasian man? That I had to be put down like I'm a piece of garbage because I'm white. Because I'm a white man, and I went. Let me tell you, Jim, I went through affirmative action. I went through all that bullshit. I was denied jobs that I shouldn't have been denied because I'm white. And I want everybody to hear me. If you never call him my call again, that's all right. I'm just telling you, I've been through discrimination as a white man, Jim. Say you. Jim?
You didn't listen to the first hour, did you? You didn't listen to the first hour of the show. Do you ever listen to the first hour of the show?
Well, Jim, unfortunately, I got a nurse here with my wife. My wife's got ALS from Fauci. So in the first hour, it's very hard for me to listen to your show when I got to take care of my wife and it's feeding time. So unfortunately, I can't listen to your first hour. Sometimes I catch it or I archive it. But I'm not going to lie to you. I don't listen to it all the time because I have my wife's condition, Jim. I'm only able to really get on the second hour because of her condition. Like I get 15 minutes of your first hour. That's all I usually end up getting on your first hour.
Okay.
15 minutes because I'm here with the nurse. I'm just telling you the truth, the whole truth. Now, I want to go back to immigration in a minute. However, yes, everybody has the freedom of speech. Everybody that calls your show has their different opinions. Hey, we're all like, everybody has an opinion. Opinions are like, we all have one. So my point is this, Jim. Yeah, Donald Trump domestically is doing fantastic. I do not like all his foreign policies. I'll be the first to tell you. I'm not happy with the Gaza situation. But that was not created by Donald Trump. That was created by a Democrat named Joe Biden. That bumbling, stumbling, mumbling imbecile. He's the one that allowed a lot of this nonsense to go on. And the Democratic Party. And a lot of your callers, I hate to tell you, are Democrats. And they're closet Democrats, and they only get on your show to bash, bash, bash. Now, as far as Donald Trump goes, yeah, we know he's a cabal and all that bull crap. But I got to say, he's actually doing some good things, and there's some great Jews in his cabinet that actually have some balls like Stephen Miller, calling it out like he did today about how Social Security has been raped and American public is basically getting screwed. That was out of Stephen Miller's mouth today.
Tom, one of the stories from the first hour that you, I'm sure, missed is Israel is receiving a major new weapon shipment from the U.S., that they're going to get 3,000 munitions for Israel's Air Force. That's a euphemism for bombs. So Trump admin is sending him 3,000 more bombs to kill Palestinians. Do you approve of that or not?
No, Jim. Listen, I'll be the first one to tell you, hell no, I don't agree with that. Donald Trump mostly have German blood in him. And he's not supposedly a Jew. He's supposed to be a Christian. His mother was a Scotch woman who's Christian. Melania's a Christian, and Barron's a Christian. So make sure that everybody on RBN understands that. Donald Trump's father was not no Jew. Trump, the father, great-grandfather, or grandfather, or grandfather, he was a Christian man. The mother's born in Scotland. So I don't know how Donald Trump is sizing up with these Jews so much. And if that's the case, he ought to be ashamed of himself. And I hope Don Jr. and Eric are listening, and whoever listens. Trump's better get it together and start showing Christian principles and Christian ideology. And I'll tell you what, if they're going to start giving all these Israelis all these weapons, let's start giving the Germans and Germany back weaponry and let them build up their military like they had in 1939. Let's build up Germany's military. Supposedly there's a threat from Russia. Well, if there's a threat from Russia, allow Germany to arm itself to the full extent of the peak. Because they even back in 1945, they had the better weapons than anybody in the world. There was no Israel. They're afraid of the Germans. They were always afraid. There's more Germans in this country than other groups. Do we speak German, Jim?
Listen, I like your calls.
Yeah, go ahead.
But there are
Go ahead.
many, including myself, who feel you're very uncritical about Trump. So I'm seeking to draw you out on issues where I take grave exception. You did not hear me explain how I have been so supportive of Trump for so long, through thick and through thin. But this crackdown on freedom of speech, punishing universities and colleges for allowing pro-Palestinian, really anti-genocide protests is absurd. It is disgusting. It is repulsive. And frankly, he's violating his oath of office because he's not upholding the First Amendment. He's using the government power to crush freedom of speech, and I don't like it. That's very much I was impassioned about it during the first hour, Tom. You missed that. That's why I wanted to bring back that you clearly hadn't heard it. Go ahead.
Well, you just asked me how I felt about Donald Trump giving Israeli weapons. I say hell no to that. I'm tired of the taxpayer giving all these schmucks all these weapons that kill people. They don't deserve all half the shit they get out of us. I hate to use my French like that, but I'm tired of these we kissing ass to Israel. We should start taking care of white America. Look at all the cities that have crumbled in our country. Cleveland, all these great cities, Chicago. Look at them. Look at your UC fan, Detroit. And we've allowed this, Jim. And it's the majority who's basically allowing it because they've been dumbed down, they've been beat down, and they're fed up.
I'm very, very glad to hear you say that you do not approve of Trump sending more weapons for the Israelis to kill Palestinians. I'm glad to hear it. And I'm asking you about a second issue about domestic politics. How do you feel about the crackdown on student protests against the Israelis slaughtering the Palestinians? Do you think he's on the right side or the wrong about this issue of cracking down, including
Jim, again, that's Jim, I agree with you. That's a two-edged sword. That is a two-edged sword. I'm going to tell you right now. Do I agree with Donald Trump cracking down on freedom of speech? Hell no. Do I agree that these universities throughout the nation are all going woke? They're promoting homosexuality. They're promoting the hate white men should be hated. And all these minority groups that's in the minority, not in the majority, should hate white. The population, the majority, you got to hate the majority. And white men should act like sissies. Do I agree with that? Hell no. Does Donald Trump, as he write about, defunding these woke colleges, promoting all this, men should be playing in women's sports and all that? No. He's absolutely right there. Now, as far as do I think he should crack down on freedom of speech for anybody? Hell no. The Palestinians should have their right to freedom of speech. I totally agree with you, Jim. You know that. That's a double-edged sword. And you're asking me something I can't really answer. The only thing I can is that Donald Trump has got to be aware.
Tom, I'm real happy with these exchanges. I'd sense for some time you hadn't heard the first hours, and I understand why, and you have all my sympathy and support for caring for your wife. I wish you well. I wish you good luck. And I like your calls. You keep them coming. Keep them coming, Tom.
I just got to say one more thing, Jim. I got to say one more thing. Let's make English an official language. We don't need all this discombobulation in this country to turn it into Bosnia-Herzegovina. We need to make an English official language when you work in a hospital or anywhere, and you get properly taken care of. And let's start taking care of our elderly white population who have been decimated by a lot of these demon rats. The Democratic Party especially has demoralized a lot of white people in this country, and it needs to stop. And there's some callers on your show. I'd appreciate it, Jim, if you tell them to back off on the attacking of the white man. I'm fed up with it, and I'm going to fight for the white race all the way. And I'm not a racist. I believe in everybody should be equal. But I'm going to tell you what: too many white men spill blood for this country to make it the greatest country on earth. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Tom. I can't be a champion of free speech and censor what people have to say. I just am not happy about a couple of recent calls that were, in my opinion, inappropriate. But look, Tom. You're good.
I agree. I agree.
I like it. I appreciate it. You take good care of your wife, Tom, and I look forward to talking with you again, almost certainly tomorrow. I'll see you then.
Jim.
Meanwhile, Rick.
Jim, if you remember, Jim, life is short. Go play 18 holes.
Thanks, Tom. Rick in Arizona joined the conversation. Rick.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I can follow that at all. Yeah, I heard the first hour, and I like that clip you ran about capitalism. I want to make a comment about that when I'm toward the end of what I want to say here. But first of all, you wanted to know what Chabad Lubavitch is all about. Chabad Lubavitch is, like that one caller said, it is the epitome of Jewish supremacy. Okay.
Yeah.
Chabad Lubavitch was the Mossad before it was Mossad. Okay. Mossad came out of Chabad Lubavitch. Trump is operating out of a page from the book Thou Shalt Do War, okay, by Victor Ostrovsky. What Trump is doing is he is keeping everybody off guard by not being predictable. He's operating right out of that book. Now, as far as what was I going to say?
Which book is he operating? I mean, I've read the Deception book about the Mossad. Fascinating.
Yeah, it's right if you read it. That's the number one rule is to keep everybody off guard. Never answer to your name when you're walking down the street. I remember that. They're just masters at deception. Okay? Now, Trump's children are Jewish by Ivana. She was a Czechoslovakian Jew who basically ran the hotels in Atlantic City. Chabad Lubavitchers will never, ever allow you to marry a shiksa. That makes Donald Trump's daughter is Jewish by rabbinical law. Now, we can argue about whether Trump is Jewish or not. We don't know. Yeah, look at every tree has a lot of branches in it, okay? And you don't know about a great-grandfather. Because Trump has some Jewish similarities. He has red hair. That's very Jewish. He's like they make fun of ginger kids. That's the Jews are making fun of other Jews that have red hair and freckles. But
Rick, I'm liking this call a lot. I'm liking this call a lot. I like your calm manner and the dispassionate way you're dealing with this. And I think you've got it right. I think Tom's mistaken in thinking they're all a bunch of Christians. I think that's highly unlikely. Trump has displayed all the awards he's got from Jewish organizations are typically only given to Jews. And if he converted in 2017, that wouldn't surprise me at all. And the article of the other day saying Putin as well as Trump are both Shabbat. See, that makes me want to sort out what does it really mean? How is it going to affect us? And therefore, I especially appreciate your call today. Continue.
Okay. What was I trying to remember here?
Well, you were going to tell us more about what it means to be Shabbat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what it means to be Shabbat is like if they go out and search for people who are Jewish that don't even know they're Jewish, and then they try to let them in on who they are. That's who they are. Okay. The look at everybody thinks Trump is saving Social Security. I don't buy the numbers that they're talking about. Here's what they're trying to do. Trump has got all his Wall Street buddies around there, and they want to privatize Social Security. Trump's not going to save Social Security for us. He's going to do it for his Wall Street buddies. They like this word private-public partnership. We do not want them touching Social Security. Right. Elon Musk said that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Really? What does that make Wall Street? Social Security has never collapsed and busted everybody out. Okay? The Tax Reform Act of 1987 changed capitalism as we know it. It turned the rich people of that day into the billionaires we have now.
Take it. Okay? Hold that thought, Rick. I want to continue with you after the break.
So much younger than today. I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured.
Sometimes the call is just perfectly timed, and I think, Rick, your call is perfectly timed. Please do continue.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple more comments. First of all, if you think, Trump is trashing freedom of speech on college campuses to save the white man, get a grip. That's not what it's about, okay? Social Security, all these institutions like that guy talked about in the first hour of
Wait a minute. Back up. I didn't think he was trashing social freedom of speech to save the white man. It's got nothing to do with the white man. It's got to do with protecting Israel from criticism. What is the point you're making there, Rick?
I was referring to Tom, okay?
Yeah.
I was just. Yeah.
What do you think it's all about? Are you in agreement with me? I mean, this is clear. Benefiting Israel. I think it's outrageous, violating the Constitution. Yeah. Okay, good. Go ahead.
Of course it is. It's all part and parcel to the anti-Semitism laws that they want to bring to us. That's all. And it's going to go from the college campuses to privately owned schools to anybody who gets federal funding at this point in the game is subject to having their funding cut off if they think you are violating the anti-Semitism law. Okay? But one thing I want to say before I get out of here is be careful about the private-public partnership.
Yeah.
The first thing Wall Street does when they get their hands on your environment, they start terrifying you. And they're doing that with the Social Security system. They're trying to tell you that you're being ripped off. There are some frauds, okay? But these people aren't going to save it for us. They're going to steal and loot it, everything they can, because like that guy said in the first hour, we're in the final days or the final stage of capitalism. And so now anything that has cash flow, even the government, they want to get their hands on the cash flow of the government, okay? Yeah. So I just don't see, any of this I don't like Trump he's not, in my opinion, everything he's been doing is a farce. There's no mass deportations. He's going to give us tariffs.
That is a fraud. That's just a story. That's just a fantasy. That's just politics. That's just spinning. That's just continuing to deceive us. Go ahead.
It's the same shit. He's going to bring 5 million dot heads into the United States to flood the tech industry. I mean, he hasn't even shipped out 30,000 people. I don't even think he shipped out 10,000 people, okay? So just take a look at how everything's happening here. It's the same thing as the first time he was president, okay? And then people say, give him some time. Well, on the 87th day of his first term, he bombed Syria, okay? I don't buy Trump. He's a con man. And until I see real things happening for white people in this country, Tom, I don't trust Trump as far as I could throw him. Thanks for taking my call.
This is a great call, and I got to tell you, there was a time I would have thought you had it all wrong, but I'm very open to what you're saying here. I'm tending to believe it. Thanks for a simply excellent call, Rick. I look forward to your next. Who else we got here? Jim in Michigan. Jim, go ahead. Join the conversation, Jim.
Hey, there we are. I heard the thing. It kind of throws most people off. I don't know if you've ever called your program, but you probably haven't. But every time you call, you get the thing, and that means you're on. So I don't have to ask you if you hear me or not.
Okay.
I always love your program, Jim. I was just kind of thinking about, we had a discussion the other day, and as far as the Israeli and the Palestinian thing, I follow news a lot, and what I find out is, like, if you have these large-scale protests, and what they do is they always ask the folks in the protest, they're going, well, Trump's a fascist, and they go, what is a fascist? They go, well, and they're pretty dumbfounded about the question as far as you're protesting fascism. They can't even give you the definition of fascism. And the one gentleman I was actually watching who was covering the protest as far as the fascism issue, and he was asking the protesters what is fascism, and he didn't know, but he found out that the people who were actually funding the rally, the anti-fascism, were people who were paying money to these individuals to actually do the protest, and they gave them like a little note thing. So if somebody asks them a question, they could go to their cheat sheet and actually give a halfway decent answer. And most of the time, they couldn't even read it, okay? And what I would like to bring up to you, Jim, is that I think a lot of these protests, okay, I think what they are, they're paid protesters. Someone has to organize these things, like the pro-Palestinians, and I've got to say, we've had this discussion, okay? What I think Israel's doing to the Palestinians in Gaza and stuff, I don't think that's right whatsoever. We've already had that discussion. But what I'm trying to talk about is who is controlling the narrative.
Hold that thought. I'm carrying you over to complete your thoughts right after this break. Excellent.
Well, thank you.
Bye.
Lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Howdy, cousins. This is RBN host Blackbird 9, a.k.a. Frederick C. Blackburn, asking you to please support the Republic Broadcasting Network. Every day, RBN's mission is to use our collective voices to spread truth and relevant information, to gain a deeper understanding of the adversary, and to gain knowledge for survival against the gradual erosion of the Republic. But in order to sustain this incredible communications network, RBN needs your financial contributions. To donate, visit republicbroadcasting.org, call 1-800-724-2719, or mail your donations to
Jim, continue your thoughts, please.
Well, thank you, Jim. I really appreciate your program. I guess what I'm trying to say, Jim, is that sometimes to control the narrative as far as what everybody talks about, okay? And we've been talking a lot about this controversy as far as the Israelis creating genocide in Gaza, and I'm not saying it's not happening. But what I'm thinking is, okay, to divide and conquer, I think a lot of these protests, especially the pro-Palestinian protests, are funded by people that we wouldn't really like, maybe the sources or something. I think I think the whole idea, as far as what they're doing, I agree. There's genocide going on, but I think when they overtake all the conversations, okay, most of them I've heard, I think it's divide and conquer, and we'd like to find out, because these protests, they seem really big, and who's the organizer? Who's funding the protests? And I've seen so many times around our country that the protests are funded by NGOs or George Soros. They bust them in, and they give them their signs, and they have no idea what they're protesting. And I'm not saying that the pro-Palestinians are not sincere as far as their protest is concerned, but I just think there's, again, this is where I want your opinion, okay? We have so many other issues, child trafficking, human trafficking in the United States. I heard a program today that was horrible about what they do to these children who are trafficked in from South America and what they do to them. And Mayor Garland, who should be in her house, should be in prison right now. All these things, I think, that involve our country, we aren't really talking about. And I don't know if divide and conquer is part of the whole Palestinian, Gaza and Israel discussion we're having. It's not funds to keep us off other more important things to our country. Now, that's one question to you. The second question is, with all these protests and pitting one American against the other American, what is that going to do to solve the problem in Gaza?
Look, the government's on the wrong side of this issue. Trump is grossly enthusiastic about Zionism, Israel. I believe he is a Jew himself. He's made the statement when he's talking to Christian groups that he loves Christians. I'm not a Christian. He said it. I believe in all probability he is Chab, a Lubavitch. Now, these protests, I guarantee you, 35 years on campus, as you get a sense about students. These students who are protesting the war in Gaza and against the genocide are utterly sincere. They got to take time out. They got to put themselves at risk. They're running all kinds of hazards. They're getting disapproval by the powers that be. They are not, in my opinion, they are not being funded. They are genuine. They are real. The counter-protesters, however, are almost certainly being funded, and by George Soros types and the like. And all this Zionist shit has gone way too far in this country. We got a damn cabinet that's 60% Jews and 100% Zionists. And some of these people I really like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. And RFK Jr. appears to be being blackmailed. And I gather he has been quite a womanizer in the past, and they got a lot of goods on him. But for him to turn around about after being one of the most brilliant critics of vaccines to now be endorsing the traditional vaccine schedule, that's obscene. I mean, it's just not insulting. It's an actual obscenity. So I'm very upset with him on that score. Now, Tulsi, I think, is trying to do a good job. I mean, she did, after all, accurately report that it's a consensus of the intel community that not only does Iran have no nukes, but they're not even trying to develop nukes, contradicting what Bibi Netanyahu has been saying for 25 years. He's one of the world's biggest liars. And I hate to think that the President of the United States is running in competition for Netanyahu to be Liar of the Year, but I'm sorry to say the evidence suggests he's there. He may even win it by a large margin. And this cracking down on freedom of speech is the most despicable thing a government of the United States could do, and he's right in there. He's even appointed our czar, our anti-Semitism czar, a guy who says Palestine never even existed. I mean, this is grotesque, Jim, just grotesque. And I'm telling you, I'm fed up with it. I am fed up with it. I want you to have the last word. You go ahead, Jim.
Well, and I couldn't disagree with you at all, Jim. I think we're on the same page here. Okay, and a question before I give you my final summation. What do you think would be the outcome, of all us Americans, pro-Palestinian, pro-Gaza, pro-Israel? What can change the outcome of what's going to happen over in the Middle East by separating Americans?
Yeah. The reason the Democrats have gone so far outside of traditional American values has been because they've been able to rig the elections. And I think now that it appears no longer able to rig the elections, they even had a sophisticated algorithm that would guarantee they would win again and again that's been exposed. I think they're in a precarious situation because their policies were so bad. We know this transgender, all this sex ed in, elementary school, stuff like that. It's so repulsive. I think the Democrats put themselves out on a limb, and they were counting on being able to steal elections again and again and again. And mark my words, they're going to continue to try. I just think they're going to be less successful. And when you have states like Wisconsin here, which had been a swing state, now passing a photo ID requirement for voting, I expect most of the other states are going to follow suit. Now, there's going to be holdouts. And California obviously is completely wacky, and this guy Newsom has got his head where the sun doesn't shine, and he's done so much damage to the state of my birth, Jim. I was born in Pasadena. I graduated from South Pasadena High School, for crying out loud. My parents went to UCLA, and when he's mucking up this golden state like this, it harms. It brings real emotional distress to me, who has had so much affection for that once great state, and it's now being turned to rubble. I think the public opinion matters. The fact is that the enthusiasm for Israel has dropped dramatically. Now over 55% of American people have a negative attitude toward Israel. That is going to climb. And I haven't seen the latest polling on Trump, but I guarantee you he's dropping. If he hasn't dropped at least 15 points since his inauguration over this Israeli thing, I would be dumbfounded. It's got to be at least 15 points. At some juncture, there's going to be a political reaction here. And we, as long as we're law-abiding, we're not taking our pitchforks and our shotguns into the street. But remember, it was JFK who observed that those who make peaceful reform impossible make violent revolution inevitable. It looks like we're going to have a violent revolution in France. They've locked up Le Pen, the most popular politician. It's all been based on fabricated court cases. We all know a lot about that with Trump. I know a lot about it personally. I've been subjected to the abuse of the courts here in Wisconsin. I'm seeking to have it reversed and set straight. But I'm telling you, the injustice reached a point where the people aren't going to take it any longer. I think France is going to set an example for the world. I think that's coming. Jim, we're going to see how it plays out. But someone has got to be responsible. I'm just sorry to say Trump seems to me to be out of touch when he talks about he couldn't understand why Israel gave up the Gaza Strip. That's as though he doesn't understand this was all Palestine. The whole bloody area was Palestine. That Israel came in as the interlopers in 1948. That Israel today is occupied Palestine. Trump doesn't seem to have a clue. And frankly, it shocks me that this guy who thinks he's going to deal with and solve these wars, which he described as stupid when he was campaigning, but now he's aiding and abetting and causing more. Get this, he's even bombing Somalia now. That was a story that got lost when I repeated. He's not only bombing the Houthis, he's now bombing Somalia. U.S. launches airstrike in Somalia. Says one ISIS fighter killed. I mean, this is all bad. So, Jim, we're going to have to do something. We know we have the right. The Declaration of Independence declares it to overthrow a government that's tyrannical. I think it's very important that Americans are such a heavily armed nation. They're going to try to do everything they can to compromise our ability to resist a tyrannical government. But I'm telling you, the situation does not look good. And I say France, most likely, to set an example for the world now. Of course, events can prove me wrong. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just making an educated guess based on the evidence available to me now. And, of course, it could change tomorrow, so we'll see. But, look, I really like your call. I really liked the call we had before from Rick in Arizona. I think you guys are doing great, and I want to thank you for being a part of this RBN community. Jim, go ahead with your final thought.
Well, Jim, I've been following the Israelis, okay? If you look back when they first got their independence and created Israel, I think we all tend to forget that the Ashkenazi Jews, okay, took the Sephardic Jews that were there, the people who were actually from, okay, the state of Israel or that land back there, and they radiated over 100,000 children, Sephardic Jews. And you know that, right?
That they did what? Repeat that fact.
That the fact the United States along with Israel, okay, and the Ashkenazi Jews radiated over 100,000 Sephardic Jews to a point where they would kill them or make the totally disability. And you can read about that's your history books, okay?
The real bona fide Semitic, you're telling me the real bona fide Semitic Jews, that community was extinguished by and large by the Ashkenazis who came down from modern-day Ukraine to take over the country, who have no ties to the tribe of Judah or any of that. They are interlopers. Jim, you're making a really important point. Go forward.
So I'm not pro-Israel or pro-Gaza. What I'm just saying is that atrocities happen all over the world, and I'm sorry for what's happening to the people in Gaza. It's a genocide, and I totally agree with that. I just don't want us to get so involved with that because it's a really important thing, Jim. But we have so many things going on in our country, that the child slavery. I mean, I heard some stories today about the children, the 300,000 children that were abducted, coming over the line. And some of when they've actually caught the people who have these children, the atrocities against these children were just unbelievable.
Yeah, horrific.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And so I just would like to bring something like that into the conversation because we have issues here, Jim.
It's welcome. Okay? It's welcome, Jim. It's welcome. You're right. And hopefully we can walk and chew gum at the same time, and we can deal with the problems of foreign policy as well as those of domestic. I like the call, Jim. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm still trying to walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm practicing, Jim. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, my friend. Francis, you've been very patient. Go ahead, Francis. Give us your spiel.
Guten Tag, Namaste, CO, all that kind of good stuff. Go figure, there's a lot more than that. The aspect that, for one thing, I got a funny one for you. I know a long time ago you made the comment that Biden was replaced by an imposter or fill-in or whatever have you that's not really Biden for whatever reason. How do we know the same thing has not been done with Donald? Because,
I've heard that before. I've heard that suggestion before. I think it's more likely that he's being mind controlled. The Israelis have very sophisticated techniques. I know a friend who was very balanced, went to Israel. When he came back, he was a Zionist zealot. I think that when you go to sleep in Israel, they can subject you to electronic and all kinds of. There's a lot of weird shit going on there, is what I'm saying, Francis. And I think it's more likely. Look, with regard to Biden, you got physical attributes. This is like Paul McCartney and Fall the Replacement. The replacement has different teeth and a different height and a different palate. When you're talking about Biden, different shape and size of skull, different handwriting. I mean, those are cases that are beyond debate, okay? Trump, it looks to me like he's the same guy. He does have a body double who's got silver hair, but that's for security reasons, okay? I have not yet seen, but I have had this suggestion raised before, and I'm open to the possibility you're raising here. Could Trump have been replaced? And I'm saying I think it's more likely he's been affected in terms of beliefs by psychotronics. I got a friend, by the way, who's an expert in this area and assures me this is the sort they can do. So go right ahead.
And it's reprehensible because, for one thing, I mean, I heard the campaign trail and so forth on both sides of the spectrum and so forth. And now seeing what's going on, I'm like, what the name of creation is going on here? It's like a 180 or a 360 or whatever you want to call it. A total reversal, and which is like, okay, and now, I mean, it's bad that the various institutions of the federal government have been perpetrated and so forth, or penetrated and so forth, but to go to the point of not only attacking free speech of people that are protesting, like for the Palestinians and so forth, and the fact that they are being attacked and so forth, is now going to the everyday person. The everyday citizen on the street is also getting ready to be attacked for freedom of speech and so forth. Now, in a lot of the aspects, they did have, if you are probably aware of it, I don't know, that they had a thing called Hands Off as a protest nationwide. Now, I've heard the comment that people were paid to go and participate in those things. One, in some cities or whatever that are big major metropolis, that's very possibly true. However, I do know that in one protest I participated here locally where I live at, nobody was paid off in any way, shape, or form. We lost time from our homes, our farms, and our businesses to go and participate in that hands-off thing, saying, stay off of our Social Security, stay off of our veterans, hands off of all that stuff, as well as the Bill of Rights, and also hands off of our children as well, regardless of what the nature is. And so this whole thing about what's being perpetrated now, speaking of which, I can appreciate the fact that they're rounding up people that are part of some gang or whatever and shipping them off to a prison that, I don't want to really go into that deeply in El Salvador. But for the 189 people, almost 200 people that were taken without due process and shipped there, they need to be returned pronto, as ASAP, whatever you want to call it, stat. They need to be returned. They are actually citizens of the U.S. to begin with. They're not members of some gang because they were leaving El Salvador to get away from that horror and that type of intimidation to the point that they could have lost their life if they didn't. So,
Francis, let me say, this has been one of your better calls. Okay, I appreciate it, especially the question about Trump and whether he could have been replaced. Okay, I got two others I'm going to try to work in, so I'm going to cut you off here. But I thank you for the call, Dan in Washington.
More power to the Palestinians. Take care.
Thank you, Francis. Dan in Washington, speak up, but brief. Be brief. You are brief. Go ahead.
Two issues. Adam Green is correct. I think, the Noahide laws, the Jews are actually using the Christians and Muslims to spread that. So it's the people that are not Christian or Muslim that maybe worship idols that have to fear from that. So I think the Jews are just kind of, the brains behind the Christians as usual, and it's all the same psycho crap. They want to break down your altar, if you got to. And as far as the Jews, I mean, go home this weekend and go on Wikipedia and Google the population of Israel, and it's about a third Ashkenazi, about a third Sephardic, and a third Mizrahi or whatever. So this idea that it's just the Ashkenazi Jews is nonsense, and the Sephardic Jews caused quite enough trouble.
I don't know.
Spain,
listen,
the Sassoon family.
DNA studies reported by Johns Hopkins suggest the overwhelming majority of the population of Israel today is from the Ukrainian region. That they are the Ashkenazi variant. So I'm not at all sure. Do you know that Wikipedia is a Zionist op? Do you understand that? Wikipedia. I have repeatedly, tried to correct false claims about me because they're out to target me because I am a Holocaust denier for very good reasons, as I often put it. If you're familiar with the evidence, you're either a Holocaust denier or a big fat liar. So they have in my wiki, they have an absurd statement. They have an absurd statement in my Wikipedia in the opening paragraphs that would turn anybody off. And I try to correct it, and they won't let me correct it. It's like before. I founded Scholars for 9/11 Truth. They had rubbish about the history of the organization I founded. I tried to correct it. They wouldn't let me do it. So Wikipedia is okay on basic science and post-history, but if it's contemporary, if it's politically significant, you cannot trust it. Go ahead.
I agree. I agree with you there, and I'd like to hear you cover how fake the Holocaust is more often. But my point is that the Jews that got kicked out of Spain, the Sephardic Jews, the Rothschilds, these bankers, the Sassoon drug-running families, it's not like there's all these other Jews that are the good guy, and it's just these Ashkenazis that are bad. Judaism itself is a problem, you know. Yeah. So it really is.
We got it.
And they got kicked out of Spain for a reason.
Thank you. I'm glad you called.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bubba, Scott Rem, go for it. The rest is yours. Go for it, Bubba.
I'll explain why you're going to eat bugs. But right now I got to run. Everybody in the frickin' military knows about it. They told me the United States Airborne, the white boys are getting arrested. They're getting convicted. We didn't get convicted, but these white boys, Springfield, Virginia, Nacogdoches, Texas, all sorts of cities around America. They're telling me they're getting arrested. White race under. So when Mr. Spieler from Florida, he rants the race, white race. No one's going to fix it, you jerk, unless we do our job. We step forward. If you got someone else to fix it, get them to do it. But damn sure, I know, your whole family fought for America. Great. You never joined the military. That's not even why we're kicked. You don't want anybody to fix it. Rant and rave. You get all the time you want. I'll teach you the rest of the hour. Another 10 minutes on the other side of the break. We don't get that. So I got to be the first one on tomorrow. I'll tell you why you're all going to eat bugs. You don't know why. I know. We just were told. This is a national breaking news, and you'll get it first tomorrow. I'll be the first one on. And don't cut me off. And call all the hosts before the show, after the show. You just say Bubba Scout Red, they'll cut you off. I don't give a damn. They got a trailer park voice. They're down home. They should be down in hell. We want them all dead. Every stinking one. Before the show, they're all scum. I'll tell you tomorrow why you're going to eat bugs and why they belong in hell. But all these black boys, they're joining the Army. Even with convictions, certain ones will let go. Because they got nothing. Got it? And if you're really mad about the white race, he was ranting and raving. White race. He's white.
Bubba, thanks. Meanwhile, everyone, spend as much time as you can with your family, your friends, and people you love and care about. We do not know how much time we have left. Use it wisely. Support RBN. And with luck, we'll be back and we'll talk with you tomorrow. See you then.
I want somebody to love.